Hey folkies, I hope you're all well. I thought I'd take a moment to do a quick video about the leadership essay for HSP406. If you've done any of my units before, you'll know that I like daggy little graphics at the start of these videos that kind of tell you the things that you're going to be doing. So in this one, you're going to be doing some library searching, reading about theories of leadership and management and all of that sort of stuff to get a good understanding of that. And then you're going to be linking that to your own leadership practice, which is what's in that final image on the slides that I'm using for this presentation. And then, of course, you bring together the reading that you've done around theories of leadership and the discussion around management, and you bring that together with your practice and you type it up as an essay. It's quite simple. So just a reminder that this is one of two assignments that you submit through UTAS. The other one is the critical analysis of policy essay. The leadership essay due date is on the Milo site for you. It's 2,000 words maximum, and that's excluding your reference list. And it's weighted at 30%. What you need to do is write a 2,000 word essay that discusses the difference between leadership and management. You have to reflect on your existing leadership experience, and in doing so, identify and discuss two contemporary leadership theories and models, and people use those words interchangeably, that you believe have informed your past leadership practice and how they've informed your practice as a leader in your organisation, even, in current times. So some people talk about how they used to be a transactional leader and are now a transformational leader, for instance, which is just a couple of the examples in that question. Make sure you draw on research literature and set readings to inform your response. So it's pretty straightforward. Make sure you structure it quite well. This is a suggested structure. If you've got another one that you'd like to use, please don't hesitate to get in touch and we can chat about it. First of all, you need a good introduction, one paragraph of at least 5 sentences where you including an intro to the topic overall, and then a roadmap of what each section will talk about in your essay. I'll talk about that more in a tick. Then you need to compare and contrast ideas about leadership and management. What does the research literature say about this? Talk about the similarities and differences. Again, I'll give you an example of how this might look in a tick. Then you need to discuss two theories or models of leadership and make reflective links to your practice. You could structure this in a couple of different ways. So one person might describe the two theories first, then talk about their practice in separate paragraphs, linking in their research as they go. Another person might actually look at the key themes across those theories and then talk about each theme in a paragraph, noting how each theme links to their practice in that paragraph. So that's another way that you can do it, and that seems to be the more common approach. Then you've got a conclusion where you summarise your main points and what you've found about, so what for leadership practice, for instance, in policing organisations. And then you list your references after your conclusion using Harvard style. And you can just use that UTAS format online, which makes it much easier for you. I have some general tips for this assessment. First person is totally fine in terms of language. There are many, many different models and theories of leadership. There's ones that I've just listed in the question. There's a whole bunch of other ones that I've got there in the tips list for you. Some ways of doing leadership can be described in the research literature as models and as theories, and they use those words interchangeably. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your searches for your research literature about your theories that you're focused on. Make sure you read the wording of the questions so you don't miss out any sections. Some people talk about leadership and management for the entire time. Other people analyse their practice in terms of the theory the entire time. Either of those people have forgotten half of the task. So make sure you really focus on that. Be sure to include specific discussion examples of your own practice. Include at least one reference per paragraph and look at the marking rubric. It will tell you how many you need overall to get a good mark, for instance. And use a standard essay structure, which is like the one that we've got in these slides for you. Some common problems with essays like this in the past with other students that have done them: not using research and literature to link to the reflective practice stuff. Reflective practice becomes an analysis when you're bringing in research literature and saying it's different or similar to that research literature, for instance. A lot of people have problems with follow-on sentences, particularly when they join two sentences together with the word however in the middle. However indicates a new sentence. Make it a new sentence. Not using subheadings can also be a real problem because people's stuff just tends to run together. It's a good way of sorting out the different parts of your essay and making sure that you've covered off on all of the things that you need. Other people also have unclear paragraphs where they're missing their linking or transition sentences. This is your argument or vertical thread, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in some of the supportive materials I put up about how to write an essay and so forth. Some people also use really short paragraphs of only 2 sentences. That's not a fully developed paragraph. Make sure you include fully developed paragraph of at least 5 sentences, folks. That demonstrates that you're developing your ideas in full. Some people use too many quotes. Paraphrasing is much better. We can't mark quotes as your own work, so if you have a lot of quotes, that means it's not your own work. So keep that in mind. Some people have unclear referencing, where people don't cite your literature in the correct manner, or alternatively, they don't include it in the reference list at the end. So make sure you're thinking about all of those things. So what does the rubric say about all of this stuff? It's actually a really useful checklist for the things that you need to do. So make sure that you're thinking about that sort of stuff. So we're looking at a detailed discussion of the specific differences between leadership and management. Then we're looking at a detailed application of specific elements of 2 leadership theories to apply to your own police leadership practice. Pretty easy, actually. Then you need to have a detailed critical discussion of specific elements of future police practice, making sure that you're thinking about those in a bit of detail, not a huge amount. It doesn't say, looking at 3 specific things, but think about that future police practice because it's very important to this set task. Then we've got some stuff around communication, which is basically just addressing the set task. It's looking at appropriate English language use and all of that sort of stuff. And it's attributing the work of others correctly, which is your Harvard referencing and so forth. Make sure you follow your good essay structure. This is a reminder because I have this material up online for you. You can watch a whole video about it if you like. And I've got some links on those slides. But introduction, body, and conclusion are really, really important. I just wanted to quickly go through and give you some examples of what good paragraphs look like. I've started here with a paragraph that compares management and leadership, so you can see the types of things that people sometimes write about that. So they've got at the top a couple of good topic sentences. The challenge for organisations is to balance management with leadership, and which includes having managers who can lead and leaders who can manage. Great overarching focus for a paragraph in this section. Then it goes on to talk specifically about research literature which is related to that sort of stuff. And then we've got a nice linking sentence at the end. It stands to reason that if senior executive of an organisation is not open to new ideas, then progressive concepts will not prevail. Now, admittedly, that's probably not the best linking sentence because the paragraph is actually about something completely different, but there's something there at the very least. So they're going to get a higher mark than other people. So making sure that you're linking back to the overall topic in your paragraph is really important. So I've also given you an example of a personal paragraph where people are talking about their own personal examples. You can see that they've talked about managing a recent project. They've talked about this project in a bit more detail. And then they go on to discuss some research which links with that that specific context and what they're doing. I think it's Harrison that they talk about, yes. Then they talk about a little bit more about the program of the project and all of that sort of thing. And then they have a nice linking sentence which talks about ongoing engagement and evaluation and all of that sort of stuff. So that's a good example of how we're linking research with personal experiences of leadership. I've just given you an example of an introduction here so you can see what a good one looks like. A couple of topic sentences, a little bit of discussion about the issues, and then clearly going through what the essay will talk about. By comparing management leadership, this document will seek to understand blah, blah, blah. The document will then review 2 examples, blah, blah, blah. It will close by detailing the value of leadership, etc. So that's a good introduction. And then we've got a good conclusion here as well. No formula exists for the perfect management leader, all of that sort of thing. Then you summarise your key points, and then you talk about, so what for the future. Only then can we use it in conjunction with good management and other leadership styles. So that just gives you an example of a good conclusion. Anyway, folks, that's it from me. I hope that was helpful for you and that you got something out of it. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got any questions at all, and I'll chat with you really soon. See you later.